Sunday Spotlight is brought to you by Bay Area Children's Theater.
Hey everyone, my name is Khalia Davis and I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I am the artistic director of Bay Area Children's Theater. Welcome to Sunday Spotlight. This show shines a spotlight on really cool people whose art makes a positive social impact in our industry. Today's guest is my friend, playwright, composer, and performer, Tyrone L. Robinson. Here are 3 things you need to know about Tyrone.
Tyrone toured with the cast of Book of Mormon for almost 5 years. We officially met after one of his performances in Frozen on Broadway. He is currently adapting a book called Showway by Jacqueline Woodson into a one-act opera with the Kennedy Center.
Welcome, Tyrone, to Sunday Spotlight.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right, we're just going to jump right in so everyone can get to know you better. One of my questions is, who did you see or what did you see as a kid that inspired you to even pursue this career in the arts?
Do you know, when I was a kid, I did not see a lot of theater. I was a musician. I studied violin and I studied piano and music and singing. And so theater didn't come to me until I was about 10 years old. But when I was 10, I found a recording, a cast recording of a Broadway show. And something about that cast recording, that music mesmerized me. It completely drew me in. And that was the cast recording of a musical called Cabaret. And that musical just blew my mind. And I was mesmerized and curious and interested. And I was lucky enough that my parents took me to see a local production in my hometown of The Wiz. And when I could see that production and see it fully realized and see the actors on stage singing and dancing, that to me made me say, what do I have to do to be up there and to do what they're doing? I love it. I'm excited. And it's a story being told through song and dance. And so I would say that the Cabaret soundtrack that I heard and the production of The Wiz that I saw, both those things together, I was all in. I was like drawn in right away.
I love that. So you were able to actually see live theater in your hometown, and that's what got you excited about possibly doing it for a career. Well, obviously, as a performer, you're having to get on stage in front of lots of audiences, lots of people. And there are a lot of kids out there who want to be performers, but something that holds them back is this sense of nervousness. So for the kids out there that might be a little nervous or shy to get in front of people or stand on the stage, what are some things that you do to get over that nervousness before you go out to perform?
Oh, such a great question. I still get nervous, even today, after doing it for a long, long time. So I can completely relate to anyone who gets nervous on stage in front of a big audience. I would say that one thing that I do in the rehearsal process before we go out on stage in front of an audience is that I'm really, really just trying as hard as I can to learn all my lines and really understand what I'm doing, understand what the director is asking for me to do, and really collaborating with all of the actors that I'm working with so that we're as prepared as we can be, so that whenever the show opens, we know that we're solid, we're prepared, we're ready to go and show our best work. So I'd say preparation is one thing. That's probably the first number one thing. But also just knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that I've got a whole cast of people that are working with me and that we're collaborating together. We're all a team. That helps a lot because, if one person happens to say something that's not exactly in the script or they make a mistake or something doesn't go exactly the way that it's planned, there's someone else on stage to help them out and to sort of have their back and lift them up. Because it happens, right? Mm-hmm. We're all human. And so that would be the second thing. And then what would be the third thing? I would say if there was one more thing, I'd say that the audience is there and they're rooting for you. The audience wants you to do your best. And the audience they're your friends. They're there to see you do your best work and there to support you and lift you up. And they applaud you at the end because they're so happy with what they've seen you do. And so I would say treat the audience like they're your friends, like they're there to see what you've prepared for them. They're not there to be negative or to be anything judgmental. They're there to be your supporters and your friends.
I love that. So basically you're saying that you prepare, right? So that means you rehearse a lot
Yeah.
And you're rehearsing with your ensemble, the group of people that are there to lift you up as you're doing your work. And then you can help them do their best work. And you can lean on each other in case there might be some hiccups or something during the show. You can jump on in. You feel really good with that crew of people. And then finally, the audience themselves. They love you. They already bought those tickets to come and see you shine. So you might as well do your best on stage because they just come with enough love for everyone. And I am so thrilled about that. Well, that's you as a performer, but many people don't know that you actually are a playwright. You adapt worlds and books and stories that are kind of popular in children's literature, and you turn them into live stage performances for young audiences. I had a question about what is so special about adapting these books? Why would we take a popular children's book and turn it into something that people can see live on stage?
Oh, what a good question. So I think storytelling is probably the most important thing that we as people do. We share stories with each other. We share stories with different generations. Older people tell younger people stories. Younger people pass stories on to each other. It's almost like when you're sitting in the cafeteria and you're like passing a story around the cafeteria. You're talking to your friends. We share our own experiences with each other, so we don't feel alone. So we feel like people share in our experiences, the same things that we go through. Other people go through the same things. So I would say that that storytelling is so important and so crucial that we pass those stories on. So getting to tell a story that's in a book that we can read to an audience on a stage, it allows more people to experience the story. It allows more people to experience the story in a way that maybe when you add music to it, it allows the story to be expressed in a different way. I think also diversity and being able to see people who we don't normally experience, their cultures and different parts of their lives that we might not experience. We get to experience on the stage, and we get to see, someone else's culture that may be different than ours, expressed in a way that's through song and through dance that will help us to understand them a little bit differently and a little bit more. So I think there's a lot of reasons why it's important to tell stories from book to stage, and those are just a few of them. I can think of others, but those right off the top of my head are like some of the most important reasons why it's important to tell stories from books to stage.
Oh, that was great. I love hearing about all of these things. Final question, friend. Now, I also know that you're a teaching artist. A teaching artist is exactly what it sounds like. You're a teacher of children, and you are also an artist, and you get to inspire kids through your art. Kids are brilliant, and sometimes they're a bit wacky. What is what is a surprising thing a student has said or done in one of your classes?
Wow. Ooh, that's a hard question. There have been so many cool and fun and interesting and wacky things that we've done in class and the kids have said in class and done in class. Good question. Let's see. I was just a part of a residency that was done in New York City, where I live, and we were having students adapt a story that was from essential workers. They were taking interviews that they had done with essential workers in their neighborhoods or in their buildings or in their apartments or wherever, or their parents, and they were adapting those stories to musicals. And so one of the most fun things to watch a student do was to basically impersonate, which is where you take a character and you basically become the character. You embody the character through your voice and through your body. She was impersonating her mother, who was a nurse. And so literally she began the interview with her mother, and she, dressed as her mother as a nurse, began to talk to her. And every maybe 5 seconds, she would be interrupted by a text or a phone call or because she was on call. And so she was being interrupted constantly throughout this entire interview. So she'd say, oh, yes, that's an interesting question. I believe that whenever I was 18 years old, oh, give me just a minute. And she'd go away and answer a text. And then she'd come back, where was I? And we just all laughed, and we just thought it was the funniest thing we'd ever seen. But it felt so real because, her mother being a nurse, especially during the pandemic and during, the times that we're in now, her mother was an essential worker. And so she was constantly being interrupted during the interview. So I just thought that was just so much fun and just so wacky, but so real.
That's a great example, and also really cool work that we were able to uplift our essential workers during the pandemic in that theatrical way, and that kids could honor the people that they see as heroes during that time, which is really fun. And also, we all know we are all attached to our phones. So, of course, we would have to find some way to put a phone into the show because that is literally life for all of us. Well, thank you so much for stopping by our Sunday Spotlight. Thank you again to our special guest, Tyrone L. Robinson. But kids, we are not done yet. It's time for your creative craft. Kids, it is time to write a story. A story has a beginning where we meet our main character, a middle where they try to get what they want, but their ideas don't seem to work. In fact, we don't want them to get what they want right away, right? Because that would mean that the story is basically done. We actually want to see multiple tries and it may not work out. But then you write the ending when our character does get what they want, and we want you to write how they celebrate. Here's your twist. Your story has to take place in the future, the year 3050 to be exact. Got that, kids? Great. Now, go get creative. Until next time, keep shining. Bye.